Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I am your host, Andrew, and with me tonight is Joe. Jason is taking the week off. His dog's getting ready for surgery and he has a couple other things going on. So, Jason, we hope everything goes well with Luna's surgery tomorrow. She's a sweet, albeit crazy energetic dog as any I've ever seen. And good luck keeping her calm for the next 2 weeks while she recovers. That is going to be an arduous task, and one of which I don't envy you in the slightest because that dog has more energy than most that I've seen. Joe, how are you holding up tonight, bud?
Holding up good, man. Had a nice long weekend with Easter. It was a great time with family and whatnot, and really getting into the spirit of the holiday. So I was good. Looking forward to the new week here.
Yeah. All right. So, Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm on the Evan Williams and Coke, man. I gotta stay with what works.
All right. Got to roll with it, man. And tonight, I'm going to be drinking a beer that repeats one of the phrases you like to say a lot. I said what I said. Actually, it's quite tasty. It's a key lime margarita sour. I can't remember if Jason's had this one before or not, but he would definitely like this one too. The lime flavor is quite nice.
Try that sometime.
Yeah, I think even you'd like this. It's not crazy sour. It looks like Ronnie's joining us in the audience. Ronnie says, "Sounds good." Yeah, Ron, you'd like this one too. It's not a crazy kick you in the teeth sour either. So if you're not a super sour fan, it's one you'll definitely enjoy. All right, so rolling into the events of last week, we'll start in the minors before we get into all the stuff in the majors because there was an absolutely crazy line I've never seen anymore. I've never seen before, probably will never see again. Plus, you have some great team names here. So, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. That's correct. The Rocket City Trash Pandas. It is a raccoon. They no hit the Chattanooga Lookouts but lost the game 7-5 because they gave up 7 runs in the 7th and final inning. It was a 7-inning game because of a doubleheader. So, Joe, this is how the 7th inning went for Chattanooga. Walk, pop out to the second baseman, walk, strikeout, walk. So most of this is happening with 2 outs. Let's keep that in mind. E8 pitching change, 3 straight hit by pitches, a walk, another wild pitch, a walk, and then finally a strikeout to mercifully end the inning. Holy crap. Only in the minor leagues are you going to no hit another team and lose by 2.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. It's almost as bad as a really bad game at Clipper in the independent league, man. Holy hell.
And I've been to a couple absolutely crazy games at Clipper before. I mean, I've seen the Barnstormers put up 10 in the first inning. I've seen them give up 10 in the first inning. So, there really is there's a whole lot of craziness that goes on with that one. So let me see what.
Just ridiculous. I mean, it's the fact you couldn't get a third out and get yourself out of that maybe with a three run win. That's pretty sad.
Well, and I just can't believe I can't believe that you let one guy hit 3 guys in a row and don't yank him. Like, I don't care if you have to bring in somebody cold out of the bullpen. That guy's clearly not something ain't right if he's hitting 3 straight guys.
Well, I mean, do they have a minimum though? Still,
they probably do.
The three hitter minimum.
Well, that is 3 hitters. He hit all 3 guys. Yeah, they probably didn't have somebody ready. That's probably why he didn't get pulled.
I mean, if you're the umpire though, if he hits 2 in a row, you probably should have just said, "Yeah, no."
Yeah. Again, I didn't see the game, so I don't know. Where the pitches were. Was it obvious? No, I'm assuming he wasn't trying to hit the guys. I mean, why would you try and hit 3 guys in a row when your team's up 5-0? But
No.
I've been confused before. So, Jason said the Chattanooga no is hilariously awesome, but was sad it was against the best named team ever, the Trash Pandas. And Jason, complete agreement there, bud.
Yeah, not only is the team name good, but the logos are sick.
Yeah, the Trash Pandas have some great logos.
Some of the best unis in the minors. It's insane.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. They're a team I actually love to face when I'm playing MLB The Show because their uniform's great. Everything about that franchise is just so much fun.
Yeah, I mean it does. I think aren't they? They're the Angels affiliate.
I think so. Double A, if I remember right, too.
Yeah, I mean if they spend as much money on them as they spend on the Angels, maybe they'd be half decent.
I don't know, man. They nailed the mascot, so
yeah.
Do they need anything else?
No.
All right, so Jason's down on the farm segment this week. He said no pitchers really stood out to him. The hitter he wanted to feature was Joe Adele of the Salt Lake Bees. It's the AAA affiliate of the Angels. To start the season with 34 at-bats, he's averaging 353, 7 homers, 15 RBIs, and a 1.564 OPS. That's a smoking hot start right there. Not bad. And honestly, Joe, the way the Angels go, we might be seeing him before too much longer. If he's doing that at AAA, they might have to give him a chance.
Yeah, really.
All right, so now for some sadder news. We've got O'Neal Cruz's injury. So he's out for 4 months after having surgery because he fractured his left ankle in a collision at home plate. He tried to score from third on a chopper by Brian Hayes. His leg bent awkwardly beneath him while attempting a very late slide. Like he was like 3 feet, 4 feet tops from the plate when he started that slide.
Yeah, that was
very poor choice. It looks like his leg may have collided with catcher Sebi Zavala's leg. The Pirates DH Carlos Santana took exception to Zavala's behavior, and there was a brief benches clearing shoving contest / meeting at the mound. I wouldn't call it a brawl by any means. No ejections were issues. They got it under control pretty quickly and got the players back where they belonged. Essentially, Zavala didn't like how late Cruz decided to slide, mentioned it to Santana. Santana didn't like that, and that was the escalation. This is a rough injury because the Pirates are not off to a bad start, shockingly enough.
No, they're not.
And he's a huge part of that team, and they're going to miss his production while he's gone. And not only that, huge fantasy baseball implications, as O'Neal Cruz was taken very highly in when you look at the composite average draft picks across leagues. So this is, his loss is an impact that fantasy baseball players will be, or fantasy baseball managers, will be feeling for quite some time, as they're going to have to scramble around and find a replacement for O'Neal Cruz for the next 4 months or so while he's out injured. I watched a replay of the play. I didn't think anything was dirty on the slide. I think he just was like, oh crap, they actually got it home really quickly. I need to try and do something because I can't barrel into the catcher like he used to be able to. That's really what that looked like.
Yeah, I don't think he knew exactly where that throw was coming and had to make that decision late. I don't think there was anything intentional about it. I don't blame Zavala for taking some exception to that because you're trying to protect yourself. But
right,
I think it looked to me as if Zavala gave him the plate, and because of his late decision, it just caused the issue. He slides sooner, then there's no problem here, and we're not talking about this. But
yeah. Jason said the Cruz injury sucks majorly because he's a big part of the lineup. He definitely slid late, like he didn't want to slide, but changed up his mind. Hard to fault either player, really. And also, Jason agreed. He didn't think it was a dirty play either. It's just one of those things that happens. Baseball is baseball. Things are going to happen. So it really does suck for the Pirates, though. I don't know where they're going to who's going to make up the offensive output he's had so far.
You're just gonna have to give up throwing people out at home plate now. Cancel that.
Cancel the throw to home. That wouldn't have worked out well for Atlanta, as they threw out 3 Cardinals runners this past week in that series, at least.
Good.
Yeah. It was Atlanta's outfielders were showing off the gun show in St. Louis. Not so well in the San Diego series, but quite well in the St. Louis series. All right. So, Joe, do you have anything for Bring Out the Good this week?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things I want to touch on. I mean, Liam Hendricks, who we talked about last week, had his last chemo treatment, I think, on Tuesday of last
Awesome.
week. So things are looking in a positive direction for him. That was the main bring out the good is the good news on his front. The other one I wanted to touch on, and I know we've brought him up a ton on this show, um, Joe from Obvious Shirts. I just want to give them a hat tip for a lot of the charity work he has done in the last year specifically. I mean the ALS shirts, that when the DeMar Hamlin
Featured by
incident
me
happened in
tonight.
the NFL. Yeah. Yeah, when the DeMar Hamlin injury happened and he designed a bunch of shirts and all of the money went to his charity, the Liam Strong stuff. The guy is just a stand-up guy. It doesn't hurt that he's a fellow Hoosier and a fellow Cub fan. But he's just such a stand-up guy and he cares so much about all the things that are
Mhm.
important. So I just wanted to give Joe from Obvious Shirts a shout out tonight.
Absolutely. And, for anyone who hasn't ever purchased a t-shirt from Obvious Shirts, go do it. First of all, the prints that they have are absolutely hilarious. They have things, and it's not just Chicago sports related. They go all over the place. I love, for instance, if Joey Votto didn't swing, it wasn't a strike. That's a great shirt. They take some of the best players. Like Aaron Judge is really good at baseball. Things like that.
Yeah.
Um, I might be picking up a couple Swanson shirts because I do miss Dansby, although RC has been performing very well for Atlanta since he left. Um, I got the Freddie shirt, and I was lucky. I got the Freddie shirt right after he signed with the Dodgers, so they had it marked down because it was in Braves colors.
Yeah. Yeah, he just like I said, he just is such a stand-up guy, does a lot of good work, and it's really I think it's important to support guys like that who are doing things for the right reason.
Yeah, and not only that, the just want to shout out as well. The t-shirts are incredibly soft. They're pre-shrunk cotton. They're not going to shrink again on you in the dryer. High quality shirts, and you know the ALS shirts from last year, which I'm assuming he's going to run again this year during Lou Gehrig week. Proceeds from these shirts go to various ALS organizations for research, trying to find a cure. So anytime, follow Obvious Shirts in their social media. Anytime they're doing a special fundraising drive line of shirts, they'll post it there pretty quick. If you get their text updates, they'll send that out as well. Definitely a phenomenal organization. Joe and I are probably at some point. Joe and I are probably going to have enough shirts to wear probably 2 a day for a week at least. So
Yeah, obviousshirts.com for those who are interested.
all right, so let's keep it on kind of a uniform note now, Joe. The Yankees came up with a rather interesting proposal over the offseason. This was in an article in The Athletic. They feel like they're facing a number crunch due to the insanely ridiculous 22 retired numbers that they have. So they asked MLB to stop the longstanding practice of issuing uniform numbers to managers and coaches. MLB said no, at least for now, but they did say they would possibly reconsider the idea later. So, Joe, should managers and coaches have the roster numbers? Because traditionally, MLB managers and coaches, they would wear uniforms because in the early days, outside of Connie Mack in his suit, many managers were player managers, but we haven't seen that since, Pete Rose in 1986. So do you think they should still have roster numbers?
I don't have a problem with them having roster numbers. That doesn't bother me. I think it makes you almost feel like they're more a part of them, and you can pick them out a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
At a game or out in the field. I think it's nice that they feel more a part of it than just sort of a separate thing. I think could you get away with get rid of numbers? Sure. I mean, but does it really matter? I don't think it's as consequential as the Yankees make it sound. I mean, just stop retiring numbers for half decent guys.
You know, It's funny you bring that up. Let's roll into this sinkhole the Yankees have dug themselves into. It's their own damn fault that they have fewer numbers available than everybody else. A lot of the guys they've retired recently, I'm looking specifically at three: Paul O'Neill, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams. Nice players, good people. They're not all timers. Like any
Yeah.
other organization, they'd be known as, hey, great Yank, great, insert your organization here, but you're not going to get your number retired for that.
Yeah, I think I think you make a good point there. I mean, to retire Bernie Williams' number and consider him among the pantheon of Mantle, DiMaggio, like really? No,
Yeah.
no thanks.
Ruth, Gehrig, Joe
Yeah,
Torre.
yeah. I mean, are they legends in their time? Absolutely. Are they
I'm
best
sorry,
players?
Bernie Williams, a legend in his time. Paul O'Neill, Jorge Posada, they were good players, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
They're not legends.
no.
And here's the thing: the Yankees have 3 manager numbers retired. So, like, what? What if Aaron Boone's the next best thing since Joe Torre?
I mean, let me just say this and get out in front of this. I don't think they have to worry about retiring a manager number anytime soon.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. And let's look at this too. There's plenty of numbers available. 0 and 00 are now legal numbers in MLB. So that means you have 101 available numbers. You subtract the 22 for the retired, and let's keep in mind for their retired numbers, 2 are duplicated. They've got 2 8s and 2 42s retired.
Yeah.
And then you have 10 coaches plus Aaron Boone. So you have 68 numbers that are available for players. Last time I checked, Joe, isn't the active roster 25?
26, I think now.
Or 20. Okay, 26. Okay, so 68 minus 26 equals you have plenty of damn numbers to choose from. I'm sorry they don't have a lot of low digit numbers because those are all gone. But it's the Yankees. That's kind of expected.
Yeah.
So get over it.
Yeah.
What other solutions could there be besides eliminating numbers? You could honor certain active players by letting them wear a retired player's number. A player of high integrity and character, they could wear Lou Gehrig's number 4. Slugger like Aaron Judge, you could offer him 3, or Jeter's 2 because he's also team captain, or Thurman Munson's 15, Mattingly's 29, things like that. I don't really like that idea, but really if the Yankees are really in that much of a crunch, that's something they could at least consider.
Yeah.
I'm
not opposed to getting rid of the numbers entirely. I think, anytime you watch a game now, they're wearing sweatshirts anyway.
I'll get to that too. Hold on. hold that thought for 1 second because I have a counter argument for that too. But first, Yankees clubhouse director Lou Kakuza said nobody's wearing the jerseys anymore. They wear them because it's opening day. They'll wear them in the postseason during introductions. That's really it. Au contraire. Paul Lucas of UniWatch, he did a rundown of this during the summer of 2021. Now, okay, I know it's a couple years later, but this is probably going to be, these numbers should be in the ballpark, pun intended. 10 managers routinely suited up in full uniform. He is in 5 more. And then the remaining 15 usually what? So the uniform are being first and third base coaches, they're pretty much always in full uniform because they're on the field. So I think it's a ridiculous suggestion by the Yankees. They're making light of a problem that's not a problem. Now, Ron in the comments, he does bring up an interesting point. How many people buy a manager's jersey, though? Ron, that's fair. Not a lot of people do buy manager jerseys. You're absolutely right about that.
I don't think they even sell them.
Yeah, they probably don't. Well, but you could get a custom one done though.
Yeah.
You could always just get your name on the back of whatever. But I'm sure Ron and Jason are not ever going to be clamoring to buy a Joe Girardi Phillies manager
Gotta
uniform,
bring up Girardi, don't you?
as well as that one.
Yeah.
Well, but it's. I love Snicker. I wouldn't get a Snicker uniform.
No.
Although, now that I think about it, Jason might buy a Girardi uniform just to start a bonfire with.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I could, and here's the thing too. Sometimes managers pick numbers specifically because of, they're for a specific reason. I know Girardi, when he was with the Yankees, he first was wearing 27 because he wanted to bring their 27th title. After he got that, the next year he changed his number to 28. Don Zimmer, when he was down with the Rays at the end of his career, he started at 60 because he had been in professional baseball for 60 years. And then each year just dropped his number up by one until his last year of 66 when he passed away. And that's the number that Tampa Bay chose to retire for him, was 66.
Yeah.
So I think the Yankees are making a big issue out of something that's not an issue at all because, there's plenty of freaking numbers available. And Jason is with me on this one, hates the idea of no number for managers and coaches. So yeah, I think it's a non-issue, and I think the Yankees should just retire numbers that are actually of players that are actually worthy of being retired, and then they won't run into this problem. I know, crazy thought. I know. One other uniform related thing I saw over the weekend, you remember the Rockies City Connect that rolled out last year, the entire forest green jumpsuit outfit that they had, which actually they debuted against Atlanta and lost while wearing those uniforms, I might add. Obvious foreshadowing for later in the episode. And they debuted them this year, but they trashed the green pants for white pants. It was I thought it was a cleaner look. It broke up the green monotone jumpsuit look quite nicely. It looked like a better uniform, I thought, honestly. Did you get a chance to see them with the white pants?
I didn't, but I mean, I remember it from last year when we reviewed the uniform. I'm sure it makes it a little bit easier to see and notice the difference, I think. And hey, whatever you got to do to win those 99 games there, buddy.
Well, and honestly, it's something the Cubs should consider with their City Connects, because that was one thing it was just too much blue. White pants would be a big improvement with those.
I'd like to see them just start over.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, here's the thing. It's Nike. Nike is incapable of admitting that they screwed something up, unfortunately. So I don't think you're going to see that, even though it wouldn't be a bad idea.
No.
All right. So rolling on through, Jordan Walker of the Cardinals. He is now on a 9-game hitting streak to start his major league career. Even more impressive considering he's only 20 years old. Only 2 other players in MLB history have opened their career with 9+ game hitting streaks while being 20 years old or under. Those 2 players are Ted Williams, who had a 9-game streak in 1939, and Eddie Murphy, who had a 12-game streak in 1912. So, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he also tied the Cardinals franchise record with a 9-game hitting streak. Magnoira Sierra began his career with a 9-game hitting streak back in 2017 as well. I think Walker's ceiling's quite a bit higher than Sierra's ceiling is, though. So, Jordan Walker, I got to watch him firsthand against the Braves. That the dude just hits, man.
It's hard to put into words just how the upside you're hearing from Cardinal fans and across the league. I mean, and he's proving that it was worth it. That's for sure.
Yeah, Cardinals made the right idea putting him on the opening day roster. That's for sure. Yeah, he's gonna, Joe. I hate to say, he's gonna be a thorn in your side all year, man.
He's gonna be a thorn in my side for the next 5 to 6 years, anyway. Maybe longer.
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't be too bad, but you never know.
Through his initial contract anyway. We'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, it's true because the Cardinals will sometimes shell out money and they sometimes won't. It's kind of like a crap shot deciding what they're going to
You
do.
know, they took one of my guys. It's time for us to take one of theirs.
It's only fair.
It's only fair.
And speaking of your guys, Joe, how about them Cubs?
Yeah, interesting week for the Cubs. Coming off of opening weekend where they get 1 out of 3 from Milwaukee, and they should have probably won at least 2 of those. But they split the 2 games that were played with the Reds. Monday night's loss was a 7-6 loss. Smiley was on the bump, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them earned. So not very effective. We had our first first belly bomb of the year. Cody Bellinger, 3-run homer. At the time of, I think, that 3-run homer, which was in the first inning, the Cubs had a 76% win probability, and it just went downhill from there, which is, remarkable that it just went so sideways. The biggest question mark in that game was Ross's decision to have Patrick Wisdom, who's streaky enough as it is, bunt in the 7th inning. Made no sense, especially because he took a ball off the hand earlier in the game, and it was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what? Like, bring somebody off the bench who can swing the bat then, if you're that concerned about it. Anyway,
David Ross, man.
yeah. And anyway, I think a game they should have easily won, but you'll have that this time of the year. Tuesday night was a 12-5 win. Wisniewski got beat up pretty badly in this game, but it was a big game for all the other new faces offensively. Mancini had a couple of good hits, RBIs, and Hosmer had a couple of good hits. Belly had had a hit, I think, or 2. So the new guys were making making themselves well known Tuesday night to get that win, even though Wes Nasty, as he's called, had a rough outing. Game 3 Wednesday was postponed due to the rain that they were either supposed to get or got. And that's not being made up till September with all this weird scheduling we have, which is shocking to me. But hey, whatever. And then they had the Rangers for the weekend series. Took 2 out of 3 against them. Marcus Stroman has just been lights out to start the year. And he went 6 innings again Friday night. 2 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Eovaldi pitched really well for Texas, but it just wasn't a match for Happ and Belly. Had RBI double and a single respectively, and that was the difference. But Eovaldi did pitch pretty well, just not well enough. And then Saturday 10-3 win. Justin Steele looked really good in this one. 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. So pitched pretty well. He's had back-to-back starts, just like Stroman, pretty good to start the year. Wisdom and Gomes had homers. Hosmer had a 2-run single. Happ had a 3-run single. So a lot of positive offensive numbers throughout the week. And then yesterday, 8-2 loss. Tyone got roughed up pretty bad again. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. He had 7 strikeouts, but when you're giving up 6 hits and 5 runs, it doesn't really matter. And Assad had a really rough 3-inning outing too. He was demoted to AAA today. And Vasquez was brought up, so the outfielder. So already making some moves. And Keegan Thompson's pitched okay in the last week or so. 5 1/3, 5 strikeouts, 0.94 whip. So he's getting used to that, long relief role they have him in, pitching a couple innings a game here and there. So overall, not a great week, obviously, but not a bad week either.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it could have been a heck of a lot worse, man. Yeah. I was actually pretty impressed that you guys took 2 or 3 from the Rangers, though, especially after they showed a lot of grit in that sweep of the Phillies to open the season off. So, um, good for you guys. All right, let's move into Atlanta. Great start of the week, terrible ending to the week. They opened with a sweep of the Cardinals. They won 8-4, 4-1, 5-2. Joe, I was particularly impressed with Atlanta's performances. St. Louis is not a ballpark that we really have ever done very well in, especially in the postseason. They managed to limit the damage from Jordan Walker despite the hitting streak. Game 1, Acuna went 3 for 4, 3-run homer, a double, a single, a walk, 2 runs, 3 RBIs. Ozzie had a 2-run homer. Riley hit a 473-foot bomb, longest of his career, 4th longest at Busch Stadium, 2nd longest by an opponent. Goldschmidt, of course, because he's the reigning MVP, had to hit his first homer of the season. In game 1, the Cardinals left 11 guys on and went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's going to be largely an ongoing theme. I'm not going to bring it up for each game, but the Cardinals couldn't move guys at all, and it was very helpful. No complaints. So do what we did, and you'll have success. Game 2, Riley had a 2-run homer, second straight game he homer. Dylan Dodd had his MLB debut, 5 strong innings, 1 run, 6 hits, and 3 strikeouts. If I'm not mistaken, he's from the Missouri area, so he had a lot of family and friends in for that game, so that had to be really cool for him. RSE also had a home run for the Braves. In the 7th inning, the Cardinals were trying to rally, but Tyler O'Neill got thrown out by Acuna by pretty convincingly. I shared the video in the group chat quite happily. Oliver Marmol, the Cardinals manager, was quite upset because he thought the turnaround third was too wide. That's not our style of play as far as the effort. Rounding the bag there, it's unacceptable. Acuna, Joe, you'll like this. He also threw out Contreras at second base earlier in the game as well.
No love lost there, as you guys know from the group chat. I downloaded the new MLB The Show and played the Cardinals and hit Contreras 4 times in the game. So,
and didn't get ejected because he had it spread out enough.
Yeah.
Game 3, we had an Olsen home run. He drove in 3. Bryce Elder threw 6 strong innings, gave up 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Jordan Walker did get his first career home run, but it didn't really matter. The Braves outfield defense strong again as Rosario threw Goldschmidt at home in the 4th when he tried to score from first base. Michael Harris made a great catch while slamming into the wall in the 8th to rob a home run from Paul Goldschmidt. So, you remember how our outfield defense last year was pretty crappy to start the year? I'm loving having a good outfield defense to start the year this year. It's so nice.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you there, bud. Jeez.
And then we dropped 3 out of the 4 to the Padres. Injuries really started to rack up for the Braves. The pitching matchups kind of explain it. We didn't have Fried going. He was supposed to go. Wright's injured. I think we threw 3 rookies in this series. So, it is what it is.
I will tell you this. I was listening to MLB radio on the way home tonight, and they were talking about, power rankings for this week. And they're like, I still trust Atlanta's lineup more than I trust San Diego's.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bad series for you guys, but I think if I had to pick between those 2 teams and my money's on the line, I'm going with Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta only threw 1 regular starter in the series. They threw Spencer Strider, who got the win. Well, he didn't pick up the win, but they won his game.
Right.
So, you have to imagine if we had our whole rotation intact and weren't losing 2 key guys in the bullpen, it's probably a different series.
I would say so. And I think the other thing you have to remember, like you always say, it's April.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather have guys be hurt now than be hurt in September when it matters more.
Right.
So they won the home opener 7-6 and then lost 5-4, 4-1 and then the sad 10-2 rout on Sunday Night Baseball. And can I also just say, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, I swear to God that those games are a complete and utter shit show. It doesn't matter what 2 teams are playing. One team is going to play out of its mind. One team is going to play absolute garbage. And it's basically a coin toss because it doesn't matter what the 2 teams are. There's something voodoo and creepy about Sunday night games like that. That
Well,
just
honestly, it's probably the worst baseball product in television.
yeah, I
It's
would
just
agree with that.
it's unwatchable. Like I don't need to hear you guys talk about the same damn thing for 2 innings. Like I don't care.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I have been known to mute the TV and turn on the Braves radio feed instead on Sunday night games. I I just can't do it. So home opener, all Orlando Arcia, man. He had the walk-off single in the ninth to win. He also hit a home run, had a double. So what happened was the Padres took a 6-4 lead in the eighth. Bogarts came home in a wild pitch from Kirby Yates, and then Jose Azocar dropped a bunt and advanced because Yates threw wide to first base for an error. Cronenworth scored while Azocar raced all the way around to third. In the bottom half of the inning, you had where is it? Sorry, flip flop my notes because I'm crazy. So in the bottom of the eighth, then Arcia had his double. Olson drove him in with an RBI single, and then Darno had a single, which scored Olson as well. And then in the ninth, and this was all with 2 outs, I might add. Rosario hit a double into the right field corner, and then Arcia drove him home for the walk-off. I mean, that was a great back-and-forth game the whole time. Cronenworth had a solo homer. Matt Carpenter, because of course Matt Carpenter would hit a freaking 3-run home run. Snell was wild for the Padres, though. 4 walks, 4 runs, 6 hits, only 2 strikeouts. That was in 3 2/3 of an inning. Strider took the no decision. He did give up 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, but struck out 9 in 5 innings. So it looks like Spencer Strider's largely back to last season's power. Game 2, the Braves pretty much held down the Padres offense except for Manny Machado and Nelson Cruz, because Machado went 2 for 4 with a walk, double, strikeout, 2 runs, and Cruz went 3 for 5 with a double, 2 RBIs. Jared Schuster was knocked around for the second straight time. He's been sent back down to Gwinnett. 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 4 innings. I'm not ready to give up on the kid, but he's probably not quite ready to be up at the major league level right now. So leave him down AAA to get his feet back underneath him. Ozuna did hit a home run. Riley went 3 for 3 with 2 walks and an RBI. Game 3 was the City Connect debut game. And of course, like I think almost every City Connect team, the Braves lost. Michael Wacha, because of course he did. He matched his career high with 10 freaking strikeouts, and Juan Soto hit a home run. Travis d'Arnaud had a collision with Rogan Odor at the plate, and he had a concussion. He's got a history of concussions, so the Braves immediately put him into the 7-day concussion IL. And of course, this was Wacha's first career win against Atlanta. The Braves hitting overall in that game very undisciplined, 15 strikeouts. And then in the finale, there's not much to say. That was the rout, except for 2 notes from Nelson Cruz. He became the second oldest Padre to hit a home run. And Ricky is the oldest Padre to hit a home run, and he was only a day younger than Ricky, so I'm sure he'll break that later this season at some point. And he also had 6 RBIs, which is the most Cruz has had since he drove in 7 for the Twins back on July 26th of 2020. Dylan Dodd's strong debut was kind of forgotten. He got knocked around, 10 hits, 7 runs, and 4 1/3. So, Joe, the big thing, like I said, injuries are starting to pile up, especially the pitching. Now, Fried and Wright are both in the IL. Wright starting on Tuesday against Cincinnati. Fried possibly will start Saturday, or they might push him back to next week, but they should be ready to go. d'Arnaud, like I said, 7-day IL with a concussion. Harris is on the 10-day IL with a back contusion. He actually collided with the wall in consecutive days, made both catches, I should note. But Snit said he is expected to return immediately once the 10-day stint is up. Iglesias has been on the 15 days since the beginning of the season with a shoulder injury. And after the Cardinal series, the Braves put Colin McHugh on the 15-day IL. He has a little bit of a shoulder injury going on. They noticed a 2 to 3 mile an hour drop in his velocity and said, nope, we're not screwing around with this. Take some rest. Now, he has resumed throwing already, so it seems like whatever it was, it's a minor shoulder injury. So, knock on wood, everybody's going to be fine. Once the Braves get back to full strength, I think they're going to keep rolling the way they were. But yeah, kind of a fizzling end of the week, but it's going to happen. It's April. I don't care. Just don't do that shit in September.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Joe. So since Jason's not here and I can't stand the Phillies, how about them Phillies?
Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, I think, with the Phillies. The first part of the week was not very good.
Mhm.
The Yankees, they lost 8-1 on Monday night. They won 4-1 on Tuesday night, and they lost 4-2 Wednesday night. And then they were home for their opening home weekend against the Reds and took 2 out of 3 there. They won 5-2 Friday, 3-2 Saturday, and then lost 6-4 Sunday yesterday. So, a mixed bag week. I think anytime you can take 2 of 3, you know, you're happy about that. But
Yeah.
since it is the Reds, you should sweep the Reds. I mean, I'll be honest. Um, the blown slate save, the comeback there in the end in the ninth inning. Those things happen. Obviously, they've got a big week of games this week coming up, as you'll probably note later. That they've got the Marlins, who seem to have their number, and then the Reds again. So they really need to get things kind of back on track. The nice thing about this weekend is I didn't really realize this myself, but the pennant winners get rings as well, and they had their ring ceremonies over the weekend. Um, Jason sent pictures to us, but he said that they're gorgeous rings. They have nice tributes to such as "Dancing on My Own," and Reese came out last and got the standing O. So I mean, it's really been it was nice for that part of it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, the pictures, it's a simple silver ring, the Phillies Liberty Bell logo, 0.82 carats of sapphires in the Liberty Bell to represent the 82 Philly hits through the NLCS. Um, emerald cut white diamonds set in a brick pattern to pay homage to the architectural elements of Citizens Bank Park. 96 diamonds in champions to represent the 96 total wins through the NLCS. They have a leather inlay. The championship trophy is inlaid into a piece of leather from a game-used baseball from Game 5 of the NLCS. So that's pretty cool. I missed that. The player's name is framed inside a silhouette of the signage found throughout the ballpark. Their numbers and their rubies set on a background of the brick pattern. Again, the architectural pattern of the park. You have the ruby setting, 63 rows of rubies circling the side of the ring to represent the total number of players receiving a National League Championship ring. The Phillies P, the iconic P encrusted in rubies, accompanied by the regular season and postseason records. And then on the bottom and on the inside, the team song, the postseason theme, Dancing on My Own, like you said. Inside the Citizens Bank Park, seating in the bowl along with their iconic skyline at Independence Hall. The total sellout crowd of 45,485 for Game 5 of the NLCS. And this, I love this. They put the bedlam at the park in there, the catchphrase from radio broadcaster Scott Fransky. Joe, I'm going to be honest. I also forgot that the pennant winners always get rings because the last time the Braves won pennants and didn't win a World Series was in the 90s, and I was at that point either single digits or just barely scratching double digits. So I completely forgot about that, as I think is understandable. Jason's right. They're gorgeous rings. There's no petty crap like the Astros. 42 years since they last lost to the Phillies in the NLCS or some that was garbage. So very classy rings. Yeah. Yeah, actually Jason said that exact thing. I like the Astros, classy with no pettiness.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were very gorgeous rings though, no doubt about that.
Yeah. On top of that, just to dovetail off of the rings, Gene Segura got his ring tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Nice standing over him. He was the leadoff hitter, I believe. Jason mentioned his first plate appearance, he got a standing O, and the ump just let it breathe. Which, you like the fact that the umps have some intelligence to have some discretion here with some of these pitch clock rules to go. All right, first time back here, he's getting a ring tonight. Let's give him some time to breathe.
Yeah. Can you imagine the pitch clock rules last year after Albert passed 700?
Yeah.
Just think of that nonsense. No, get off the field, Albert. We got to throw the pitch. No, shut up and let him enjoy the moment. So yeah, it's nice the umpires are actually using their heads and delaying the pitch clock starting for moments like that. Hopefully, we see that throughout the year when it's applicable. Yeah, so yeah, mixed bag week for the Phillies. As Ron pointed out in the chat, though, hey, they're killing it tonight, and they're doing quite well against Alcantara tonight. Oh crap, I have Alcantara, don't I? Shoot.
Yes, you do.
Oh well.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Oh well. Well, speaking of that segue, let's roll into fantasy baseball here, the Dollar Dogs Beer Fantasy Fantasy Podcast League. So, looking at the matchups from last week, Acuna's Boomas, my team knocked off Joe's Happy and Hornersby 19-6. And Jason's Turner and Chooch knocked off Ron Schmidt Happens 17-8. So your league standings right now, I'm leading the league at 19-6-3. Jason's 2 games behind me. Ron's 11 games behind me, and you're 13 games behind me. So, hey, man, it's week 1.
Not how you start. It's not how you start. It's how you finish.
Exactly. And what always happens? Oh, really, Ron? According to Ron, Alcantara apparently gave up 9 earned runs, so my ERA is already going to start the week in the toilet. All right,
Jason will be happy.
Man, can this be another 10-day week where I get a ton of starts in and have time to erase that? No, I guess not. You know what? One thing to point out: week 1. It's always going to be weird because it's a long week. Same with All-Star Game week. That's an extended week as well. So you get kind of wacky total numbers that you're not going to normally see. But looking at my team, some top performers for me. Will Smith was on a tear last week. He scored 8 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, picked up 6 walks. Acuna had a great week. He had 9 singles, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 6 walks. And probably the biggest offensive piece for me, Joe, is Yordan Alvarez. 5 singles, a double, 3 homers, 14 RBIs, 5 walks. Pitching wise, Garrett Cole pitched well for me. I got 2 wins out of him with a .73 ERA and 19 strikeouts. DeGrom bounced back from his rough start with the Phillies, 9 2/3. He did pick up a win, and I got 18 strikeouts out of him. Also got 18 strikeouts and 2 starts from Ohtani with 1 win in there as well. So, I all in all, it was a solid week for me. I have no complaints. And I didn't have one guy who really messed me up too badly, although Helsley didn't really do all that great. Closers might be an issue. I might need to address that as the weeks move forward. What about you, Joe? What did you think of week 1 overall?
It's interesting. I I haven't, I can't say I've followed individual players as much as I have the last week or so. But I thought, I got a lot of good contributions from Adley Rutschman. I thought that was.
Oh my God, that opening day game.
Yeah.
I have him in my fantasy league, and he helped lead me to a huge win over my mom this week.
Swanson did good for the Cubs and decent in fantasy, and Arenado did pretty good fantasy wise. So I can't complain there too much. Pitching wise, the bullpen was the shining star for me.
Yeah.
Robertson had 2 saves. I think Holmes had 3, and I think Clase had 2 as well. So
you were racking up saves.
Big strong performances from the bullpen guys. 47 strikeouts among the starters, which over 10 games is not as nice as it should be, but it was pretty good. The biggest thing I thought too, disappointment wise, was that I just didn't feel like Cease had a great game, and Bieber had a good game, the first one, but the offense for their team wasn't there, so it just kind of skewed my scores a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's been for Cease to have a sub-2 ERA already and feel pretty comfortable about where he's throwing and what he looks like. I can't be disappointed with how he's pitching.
No, definitely not.
The team has to work that out. I think Nico had a pretty rough week for me in fantasy. Dansby had the stronger of the 10 days compared to those two guys. And the rain out on Wednesday didn't help. I had a couple of guys starting that I probably might not have. If the game had been canceled sooner, I would have probably made some moves that I to change things up a bit again. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's fun to follow it a little closer. And to give you an update, a full update on this Phillies game, they're up 15-3 in the top of the ninth.
Jesus. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Phillies bullpen to blow that, but I think I'm going to be taking both an L and a massive ERA hit for this one. Yeah, Joe, looking at I'm just looking at our matchup here. Yeah, I killed you in strikeouts 104-78.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the week. Ron's notes, he said, week 1 was a lot of fun, had its ups and downs, the games being postponed, not getting those points. Honestly thinks pitching was his stronger point because most of his hitters couldn't get anything going. Verdugo was his best batter, helped out a lot where other guys couldn't. Really was hoping to get more out of JT and McNeil, but hey, that's how baseball goes. And again, Ron, like I, it's week 1. There's plenty of time. Jason said, good start for him in hours this week. It was Clash the Titan / veteran standouts for him were J-Rod with 10 runs, Vlad Jr. with a 439 average, Rose Arona with 11 RBIs, and Jordan Romano with 4 saves. Disappointments for him, Bobby Witt Jr., Mookie Betts, both at 250 or under it for average with no significant contributions. And Corbin Burns, 2 starts, 0-1, 9 1/3 innings, 11 hits, 10 earned runs, only 6 strikeouts.
Can't say I'm disappointed about that one.
Joe, I bet you were absolutely heartbroken about that one. So the matchups this week, then it's me and Jason and you and Ron. So we'll have another update next week on how that matchup is going. I'm not going to bother talking about the scores right now because it's Monday night. It's like fantasy football after the Thursday night game. It doesn't matter.
Right.
All right, so moving it on here, let's roll into the hot lists here. I'll start off with hitters for me. My top 4 for the week. I have Brian Reynolds of the Pirates. He had 9 runs, 4 homers, 12 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. The slash line of 480, 464, 1.120, 12 hits, 2 doubles, a triple, a walk, 3 strikeouts. I had Matt Chapman of the Blue Jays. 464, 516, 857 line, 5 runs, 2 homers, 12 RBIs, a stolen base, 13 hits, 5 doubles, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Ronald Acuna Jr., 345, 424, 517, 8 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 10 hits, 2 doubles, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. And then Vlad Jr., 484, 529, 677, 8 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, 15 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Those were my hot hitters for the week. How about you, Joe?
The only one you didn't have was Adam Duvall. I had him. 455, 514, 1030, and OPS of 1544. Sorry.
That's not bad.
4 homers and 14 RBIs. So that's a good week.
Yeah, that's a damn good week. Sad news for people who picked up Adam Duvall in this hot streak. His hand's broken. I think he got hit by a pitch, so Duvall will be out for an extended period of time. And having watched him on the Braves for the last couple of years, I feel like that's every year. You just wait for when that injury's going to hit him. So tough luck for Duvall and the Red Sox. All right, looking at pitchers, because Joe, I know you said you're not going to bring back the money ball players until next week when you're not dealing with 10 days worth of wildly swinging data.
Right.
So here's my top 4 hitters pitchers from the past week. We'll start with Drew Rasmussen, of the Tampa Bay Rays. 2-0, 15 strikeouts in 13 innings, an ERA of 0, whip of .23. He allowed 3 hits. Not bad. No walks.
No.
Damn. Freddie Peralta of the Brew Crew, 2-0, 12 innings, 14 strikeouts, a .75 ERA, and a whip of 1. He gave up 1 run, 6 hits, 6 walks. I had Anthony DeSclafani of the Giants. 1 and 0, 12 and a third, 11 strikeouts, 0.73 ERA, 0.49 WHIP. He gave up 1 earned run, 6 hits, no walks. And then now, because remember, tonight's games aren't counting in this Sandy Alcantara because we're not going to be saying that after this week. He pitched a complete game, 9 innings, 5 strikeouts, got the win, ERA of 0, WHIP of 0.44, 3 hits, 1 walk. Not bad at all. Joe, do you have any other
I had 2 other pitchers before we do the reliever. Luis Castillo, 1-0 in 2 starts. 11 and 2/3, 12 strikeouts, 0.43 WHIP. Not bad for him to get going. I hope he has a subpar night tonight against the Cubs. And then I had Jeff Springs. I don't think you mentioned him. He's from Tampa Bay as well. 2-0, 13 innings, no runs, 19 strikeouts, 0.54 WHIP. So a big reason that obviously when we get to hot teams, there's going to be a team up there that's no surprise.
Yeah, rolling into go ahead, do your the adulting reliever of the week.
Yeah, your adulting reliever of the week for the first week here, weekish, I guess. Dave Bednar from Pittsburgh, 4 for 4 in save opportunities, 4 innings, a WHIP of 0.75 and 7 strikeouts.
Yeah,
guy is on in midseason form already after his really good year last year.
Yeah, that's a great start for him. All right, so there's one team who deserves to be on the very, very, very tippy top of the hot teams list, and that is the undefeated 10-0 Tampa Bay Rays, whose pitching is absolutely on fire right now.
Yeah.
And they are annihilating everybody they face right now. So they are, without a doubt, the hottest team in baseball. I also have the Guardians on here right now, 7-4 overall, 7-3 in the last 10. I'd put Arizona and San Diego on there as well, both 6-4. They're both on 3-game winning streaks, and pains me to say this because I can't stand them, but the Brewers at 7-2. Honestly, I don't know if I quite call Pittsburgh a hot team right now, but they're off to a great start at 6-3. And like I said, I'm not putting Atlanta on this week, but I'm not upset with the 6-4 start, especially with the injuries that have hit the team. So, fortunately, they're playing Cincinnati right now, and they're up 2-0 going into the 8th. So, always a good way to break a cold streak is by playing the Reds.
Yeah, I'll say that. And if you're Ian Happ, playing them in Cincinnati is even better.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
Because that's, as they remind you, tirelessly every time they play the Reds. Ian Happ may have been born in Pittsburgh, but he's played college baseball at Cincinnati. So he owns Cincinnati when he plays there. So
boy,
they remind you every single time that they're in Cincinnati. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I had Tampa Bay, obviously, like you said.
How can you not?
Milwaukee, I mean, like I said about fantasy, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So let them enjoy this one because I don't expect it to last.
No, I don't either.
And I do think you have to give Pittsburgh some credit here. I've got them on the list. I mean, having, like you said, 6-3, taking the White Sox to task over the weekend. I think they swept them.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So I mean, the White Sox have had a rough start, and Pittsburgh has not. So I mean, I think you got to keep them on this list for sure.
Yeah. All right. So looking at the upcoming week, Atlanta is got 3 at home with Cincinnati. Tonight is Elder versus Ashcraft. Tomorrow, Kyle Wright will make a season debut versus Sessa. And then you got Spencer Strider versus Hunter Green. So, Joe, for that game, let's set the over-under for both teams. Let's say over-under at 32 and a half strikeouts. What are you taking?
I'll take the under.
I'm going to take the over on that.
I'm going to take the under. Hunter Green's fastball, as you have pointed out numerous times, is too flat. So
yeah,
Atlanta's hitters are too good. They're not going to miss too many of them.
No, I hope not. Maybe the first time through, but not the second time through.
I'd say you're going to see. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup. I think the bigger over under is how many balls are going to be thrown at 100 miles an hour or more.
Yeah, right. This might be, this might be the matchup that will set the record for the league this year of 100+ mile an hour pitches thrown, just with Strider and Green throwing.
The only thing that would make it better is that if Ben Joyce, the Tennessee product, I forget where he ended up, but if he was pitching against Hunter Green, that would be fun, man. That
I wouldn't
radar
want to
gun
be
would
a
need
catcher.
to be replaced every half inning.
I wouldn't want to be a catcher in that game, man. That's got to be what it was like to catch Nolan Ryan back in his prime.
No thanks.
You order the glove with triple padding instead of double.
Yeah.
And then Braves have an off day as they travel to Kansas City next. And it will be Morton versus Singer. Now, the Saturday game, they still have Dodd listed versus Bubic. Again, you could see Max Fried there. You could also see him Sunday, where it's Elder versus Greinke. So this is a week that Atlanta needs to take advantage of playing two cellar-dwelling teams and beat the ever-loving hell out of them. For the Cubbies this week, you guys are currently live with Seattle right now. You have Smiley versus Castillo. Tomorrow's Wisniewski versus Flexen, Stroman versus Gilbert. These are great pitching matchups for you guys. I like that Stroman-Gilbert match.
Yeah, that should be a fun game to watch from a pitching standpoint. And I look for Wisniewski to have a bounce-back game tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Opening week jitters and just going up against a team that was not, he pitched against. He didn't pitch against the Reds. He pitched against. Or did he? Yeah, he pitched against the Reds.
Yeah, it was the Reds.
Opening. You're playing in. I think they were in Cincinnati, so that's to be expected from a young rookie making his first start coming out of camp and being the number 5 starter, winning the job in spring training, and I think he'll bounce back. He'll get comfortable. He looked uncomfortable, honestly, watching the game. He looked uncomfortable. He couldn't locate to save his life. So I expect that to subside and him bounce back.
Yeah, definitely. And then the Cubs are off Thursday to travel out west to Los Angeles, where they will face the Dodgers, not the Angels, unfortunately. Stroman versus, that was the Seattle matchup. Steele versus Syndergaard, Talion versus Grove, Smiley versus Urias on Sunday. The Dodgers aren't off to a hot start, so I feel like if you have to play the Dodgers, now is not a bad time to play the Dodgers. And you have good pitching matchups too. Urias will be tough without a doubt. He always is.
Yeah,
but Syndergaard and Grove, I like that.
I put my trust in the man of steel, Justin Steele. I love that guy, man. He's awesome. I think he's excellent. I'm excited to watch him continue to. He's really earned that number 2 spot this year. You thought he would at the end of the last year, but he's really embraced it and really has pitched well so far. I know it's early, and I don't want to overreact, but I think he's really pitched well, and I was pretty high on him last year, as you know. So
yes,
I'm excited for that. And I think same thing with Wisniewski. I think Tyone bounces back in the third start maybe, and things kind of even out.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, so for the Phillies this week, so we know they won tonight. It was Strahm versus Alcantara. Tomorrow is Nola versus Luzardo and Wheeler versus Cabrera. And Jason will actually be at the game tomorrow. It's his first of the season. He said he's pumped for it. It's Dollar Dog Night, so he wants to have a contest. So how many hot dogs, by the quarter of a hot dog, Joe, do you think Jason's going to eat?
Oh, Jason's number was... What was Jason's number? He said 4 3/4. That's his opening salvo here on this.
Yeah, he's putting the minimum at 4 3/4. So, Joe, what's your prediction for how many hot dogs Jason's going to end up eating?
You know what?
Ronnie's chiming in here with 5 hot dogs. All right, Ronnie, if you end up winning, I'll send you a one of our Dollar Dogs and Beer stickers I've got lying around here.
There you go. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go 5 1/4.
5 1/4. All right. I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go 6.5.
Whoo.
6.5.
And yes, Ronnie, I realize I just pulled the prices right on you. I don't care.
You definitely did, and I almost wish I could go back and change my answer to 5. To 5. No, I won't do that. All right, so so it's great pitching matchups for the Phillies versus the Marlins, who have tended to be Phillies' kryptonite over the years. So this is a big series for the Phillies to see if they can get that monkey off their back, so to speak. And then no off day on Thursday as they go to Cincinnati for a 4-game series. You've got Falter versus Lodolo, Walker versus Overton, Strom versus Ashcraft, and Nola versus Sessa. So Phillies will be playing all week. No off day for them this week. Then looking ahead at our other. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
With the Phillies, I think I agree with Jason. It's a big week, but honestly, getting over the hump today. The Phillies could easily win every game this week. I think the pitching is on their side. I think the offense will start to come alive. They did tonight. So, the Phillies could easily win every game this week, but I'm not going to jinx the Phillies this week, and I'm going to say they're going to win 2 or 3 games.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Jason says he's just checking in. Jason, we're doing pretty well. But like we said at the top of the show, hope things are going well for you at home. And good luck with Luna's surgery tomorrow. And like I said in the group chat, give her an extra treat from me. Maybe an extra piece of cheese too.
I will say this. I think the Phillies series this week. I think as long as there's not a as long as there's not a rain out due to the forecast, and as Ronnie knows, you don't not go fishing because of the forecast, but you don't not play baseball either.
Yeah. Well, I brought this up in the fantasy group chat we have with Ronnie. What I think probably happened was it looks like the storm system hit some mountains and just stalled unexpectedly. So I understand why, because the areas that got hit did get hit pretty hard, but 24 hours out, that was a little bit premature. Jason, the guesses for Dollar Dogs. So Ronnie said 5, Joe said 5.25 because he had to price us right, Ronnie, and I said 6.5. I'm going big. I believe in your stomach, man. Don't let me down.
My only question is, does that count the buns too?
Of course it counts the buns. It's just like the Nathan's contest. You got to eat the bun too.
Right.
All right. Looking ahead for the Orioles this week, they've got a week that should be actually, I think, pretty winnable for them. They've got the Oakland A's at home for 4 games. Gibson versus Sears, Rodriguez versus Mueller, Kremer versus Waldachuk, and Irvin versus whoever Oakland decides to roll out to lose in that game. And then for the weekend series, they go on the road to the White Sox. They've got Wells versus Clevenger, Gibson versus Kopech, and Rodriguez versus Cease. So, outside of that Sunday matchup, which I do not think is in their favor at all, this should be a good week for Baltimore. Big Jim ought to be quite happy about that. Jason said, yes, of course the buns are included.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that White Sox series. I know you said Kopech and Cease, and you said Clevenger was the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Friday game is probably winnable. I think Kopech has really looked pretty good yesterday. They only lost that game 1-0. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the O'Neill Cruz injury overshadowed that, but Pittsburgh won that game 1-0. Kopech looked really good, so I'd see they'll probably get 1 out of 3 against the White Sox, but I think the A's are, double A plus.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 is sweep. Jason said the Phillies scored 15 runs tonight and obliterated Alcantara, so I fully expect no runs or no hits tomorrow. Jason, it wouldn't shock me either. That would be total Phillies. Ron said better question would be how many beers on top of it, and he said, Ron, that'll be too expensive. $1 beers, that'd be a different story. Yeah, Jason, as we've said many times, there is no more $1 beer promotions in MLB anymore, sadly. At least they still do Dollar Dogs because thank God for that.
Yeah. We wouldn't have a show without that.
Exactly. And then looking at the Nationals and the obliteration that they will face this week, they're on the road. Starting the week, they have 3 in the Angels. Corbin versus Suarez, Gray versus Ohtani tomorrow night. Well, they're going to lose that one big time. And Gore versus TBD for the Angels. And then they have an off day Thursday to come home for 3 with the Guardians. Williams versus Quantrill, Cole versus Plesac, and Corbin versus Bieber. They get 1. I don't know which one they get, but they're going to get 1 because they're going to get lucky on 1. And that's about it.
In the words of Spider-Man on Family Guy, everybody gets 1.
Exactly. Everybody gets 1.
And that's will get 1. I just don't know which one it is.
Neither do they. Ronnie said Jason got to get one of those beer bats.
It's funny you mentioned the beer bats because there's some in Cubs world. There's a lot of talk about how they've gotten rid of the beer stick now because they sell the beer bats, which I'm disappointed. I miss the beer snakes.
Yeah, the beer snakes were just iconic. Yeah, you had to have beer snakes.
Those cup snakes, man, it was insane.
Yeah, those. I saw one time that I think went from the outfield wall all the way back to the scoreboard wall, and then wrapped all the way back down to the outfield wall.
Yes, they did.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was a day game against Milwaukee too. So
probably.
God knows what was happening in that game.
And those guys had been in Murphy since 8 o'clock in the morning, probably.
Without a doubt. All right, so I think that's it for me, Joe. Do you have anything else for the week?
No, I mean I'm looking forward to where this week goes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a bounce back week for my Braves. Like I said, ended rough, but we got guys getting healthy, so things should hopefully start to get better shortly. All right, everybody. You can find our audio recordings on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Pocket Cast Radio, Public, Amazon Music, and Spreaker. We are live on YouTube, Facebook Live, as well as Twitter. Find the merchandise at redbubble.com/people/DDAB-podcast. Follow us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer. On our Twitter page at DDAB_podcast. All 3 of us are on Twitter. I'm at PyroLord314. Jason's at JRicker300. Joe's at JoltJoe35. We are presented by Dark Arrow Podcast, LLC, and we are sponsored by the Phenomenal Whiskey and Blade Barbershop in Lidditz. Johnny, sorry for all the shots we had to take at the ridiculous crap the Yankees pulled earlier, but you know what? The show must go on. Folks, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.